From Travis Lutter coming in heavy at UFC 67, jeopardizing his shot at the middleweight belt, to Charles Oliveira's tragic miss by half a pound at UFC 247. These are the most shocking times that fighters didn't make weight. Let's go way back at UFC 67. Travis Lutter was set to challenge Anderson, the Spider Silva, for the middleweight belt. However, when he came to weigh in, the jiu-jitsu master was over by 2 pounds, weighing 187 pounds. And it's clear that he had done everything to try and get under the weight limit. When he came to the scales, Travis looked like death. He had shaved his head in an attempt to make weight and dehydrated himself to a dangerous level. I mean, if you were a bystander, you'd probably assume that this guy was going to the hospital, not, fighting one of the GOATs of MMA. As a result of Lutter's failure to make weight, the bout was changed to a non-title fight, which seriously contradicted the all-or-nothing headline that the event was given. Thing is, Travis's failure to make weight wasn't the only controversial occurrence during this event. Many people didn't like the way that he got his title shot. Instead of going on a run, facing the best that the middleweight division had to offer, Travis got his shot at the belt by winning the Ultimate Fighter 4, which many people viewed as an easy route. The fight did actually pan out a lot more excitingly than first anticipated. In round 1, Travis had some real success against the champ. However, it all fell apart for him in the second round, where he was forced to tap due to a triangle choke. All in all, it's safe to say that this event was a bit of a disaster all around, and Travis's poor showing on the scale was just the icing on the cake. Our next incident occurred at UFC 56. We're of course talking about the time when Joe Riggs failed to make weight for his fight with Matt Hughes. Now, to be fair to the guy, he was given the fight with only 3 weeks' notice, so he wasn't exactly given much time to prepare and cut the necessary weight.
And I'm in a bar. I took this call. I'm drunk in a bar, and I'm like I'm 220, man. And the fight was like in 2 weeks, and he's like, just start getting in shape.
Nevertheless, Joe accepted the fight and was expected to weigh in on fight night under 170 pounds. Well, as it turned out, his weigh-in was a total disaster. When Joe stepped on the scales for the first time, he weighed in at 171.5 pounds. So he tried to drop the pound by cutting water weight for an hour. However, when he came back to the weigh-in, Joe had somehow managed to gain half a pound. How? Joe tried for a further half an hour to cut the weight, but the scale was stuck at 172 pounds. He couldn't believe this and started raging at the fight officials after his unsuccessful weigh-in. The scales were recalibrated, but because he had gotten so angry, Joe had taken a sip of water while the scales were being calibrated. So when he stepped on the scales for the 4th time, he actually weighed in at 172.5 pounds. As a result, the fight was changed to a non-title bout, which was a major disappointment to say the least. Luckily, we still did get to see Matt dominate in absolute style, submitting Riggs in the first round via Kimura. So it's safe to say, if you're trying to cut weight, don't down a glass of water right before you step on a scale. Oh, and if we're talking about fighters not making weight, how can we forget about the main man himself? Yoel Romero. This guy has missed weight a few times in his career, but his most memorable was at UFC 255 when he faced Robert Whittaker for the middleweight belt. Yoel had missed weight in his previous fight at UFC 221, so there was plenty of pressure on the guy to make weight. Yoel was confident that he was going to make weight with ease, saying, "The problem last time was not having time. That was the only problem."
Go to the fight. Is the problem in the last time is not have a time. That's only the problem,
Short notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
So everyone was convinced that the event would go as planned. But when Yoel stepped on the scale, he weighed 1 pound over the middleweight limit and was given time to try to drop some more weight. On his second attempt, he came in at 185.2 pounds. This meant that the main event wasn't able to take place as planned, and the fight was declared a non-title fight. This was a major disappointment as both fighters were in their primes and ready to give everyone a hell of a show to remember. The next time a fighter missed weight was during UFC Fight Night 169. Joseph Benavidez was set to take on Davison Figueiredo for the flyweight title. However, Figueiredo missed weight by 2 pounds, weighing in at 127.5 pounds. This meant he was unable to claim the flyweight title should he win, but Benavidez was still able to grab the belt if he won. Benavidez also received 30% of his opponent's prize purse as a result of the fiasco. As it turned out, Figueiredo did go on to win the fight via a submission, with only 12 seconds left in the first round, and he was gutted that he couldn't make weight, missed out on the opportunity to win the belt, and of course, a whole lot of money. The last incident on our list concerns one of the most controversial weight misses in history, one that divided the MMA world in two. We're talking about the time Charles Oliveira failed to make weight prior to his scheduled bout against Justin Gaethje. Before this fight, Charles had been on a monstrous run, completely dominating the likes of Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier. But this time, Oliveira was defeated by the scale, weighing in at half a pound over the lightweight limit. The champ was given time to try to drop the extra weight.
Thought I heard 155 and a half.
155 and a half
Oh, man.
for Charles Oliveira.
Still a half pound.
All right, so he's a half a pound over. He's missed. He has an hour to cut that half pound.
But unfortunately, he was unable to get under the limit. As a result, Dana White made the decision to strip Charles of the lightweight belt, leaving the title vacant. This completely split the MMA world.
You're the number one contender now. You didn't make weight. I know, you didn't make weight. You're the number one contender.
Some people felt the decision was entirely justified, because if you miss weight, it doesn't matter whether it's by a pound or 10. Others felt that the decision was unfair, and that Charles didn't deserve to have his winning streak stopped by a set of scales. As it transpired, Oliveira went on to beat Justin in stunning fashion, completely outstriking the American before submitting him calmly, via rear naked choke. But because of the weight miss, Oliveira lost the belt for much longer than he anticipated. After the dispatching of Justin, Oliveira was required to face Islam Makhachev for the belt. But things didn't go as planned for the Brazilian. He was completely dominated in the first round, and submitted via arm triangle in the second. I guess this goes to show that every time you step on the scales, you better be prepared to face the consequences, good or bad. You never know what can happen at a UFC weigh-in. Fighters can be over or under, or even some crazy drama can pop off. Not surprisingly, millions of UFC fans regularly tune in to watch them. So, from Joe Riggs' embarrassing fiasco before his fight with Matt Hughes, which had him missing weight 4 times in one evening, to the tragic miss by Charles Oliveira, which stripped him of his lightweight title and divided the MMA world. Those were the most shocking times that fighters didn't make weight.